Hey Lori, it's Mike with Real Life Photography. Apologize if my voice sounds a little bit scratchy. I'm having some allergy problems here in Texas. So I've got your 5 images that you sent over, and I'm going to try to get through these without interruption. But no promises. My boys might run in and make some noise. If so, I'll pause it and I'll come back to the edit. So I've got your 5 images that you sent over here, and then I haven't done anything with them. They're all raw as you sent to me. So I'm going to start now, and what I like to do is I kind of know the presets and what preset is going to work, or what I think is going to work, just because I understand what the tones are for each one. So I'll one click through all 3 or all 4 of these, and then I'll probably come back and make a decision which one I'm going to start with, and you'll be able to see any of the tweaks that I make over here on the right hand side of your screen. So I'm going to start now with RLP 01, and already I like that. 2, probably a little too orange, and I'm making that determination now. I'm looking at her skin tones, and then I'm also looking at the cabinets here. 3, and then 4. So there's subtle difference between 3 and 4. You can see it, but I think for this one I would go with RLP 1. Now I'm just going to look at a couple of the other tones that I've released in addition to those. There's tone 2, which is kind of blue. Tone 3 is a little orange, and then tone 4 has a little bit of green in it. So in each one, obviously, serves a different purpose for a different type of photo. But I think on this one, I'll just use the base preset of RLP 01. And just for giggles, I'll look at the black and whites as well. So go back. Let me reset completely. Go back to 1. All right. So if you're trying to do, if you're wanting more of a moody type of edit, obviously, lighting is always going to probably play the biggest factor into achieving a moody edit, and then obviously composition and facial expressions and all that good stuff are all going to play a big factor into the photograph. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to kind of disregard some of those things, because this really isn't, to me, a very moody moment. So I'm just going to edit it as I would normally. And I think for the first thing that I would do is probably maybe drop exposure just a tiny bit. A little bit of white balance. So interruption 1 has already happened. So I'm back. So I added a little bit of warmth here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play with the highlights a little bit and see. I kind of like them where they originally were. I'm going to look at the shadows. I might drop the shadows down just a little bit. Add a little bit more contrast. And then now here's kind of where the fun actually begins, and a lot more tweaking. I would be happy with this image as it sits right now. But just to show you, since we're already doing this video, kind of how I go about tweaking images. I will show you what I do. So I click on this little button here in Lightroom, and it allows you to click on something and go up. If you push up or down, it makes adjustments to those tones that you've clicked on. So I'll just show you an example real quick. I'm going to click on her shirt, take it up, and then I'll take it down. And you see that they're global adjustments. So you're going to have to, unless you want to do this in Photoshop, you're going to have to be wary of how much you tweak this, because it can affect any of the colors that are fairly close to that. And I think I'm going to go right there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is... Okay. So sorry, I think I clicked on something real quick while my son was in the room. So now I'm going to make some adjustments here on his shirt just a little bit. There. And I just kind of wanted to show you what how you would go about doing that. And then saturation, you can increase just a little bit here, maybe on oranges. Hold on, I got a crying kid. Alright, so I adjusted the orange saturation. Sorry, hopefully I don't keep getting interruptions here. Adjusted the orange saturation a little bit. After looking at it a little more, I might drop it just a little bit. And I think on the yellows, I'm going to tweak the yellows a little bit. Sharpening, this is ultimately, I mean, you have to take into everything into effect. You're at ISO 1600 here, so I'm actually going to drop this down to about 30. And then I'm going to remove the grain from the preset. And I'm happy with that, how that turned out. Moving on to the next one. So this is going to be probably a little bit more challenging, just because the subjects are way far back out here. So I'm going to click through each one again and see which one I like. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, tone 2, tone 3, tone 4. So I think for this one I'm actually going to use 2. This one's a tricky guy. So I'm gonna crop in to about right there. The next thing I'm gonna do is adjust the greens. I'm gonna see if I can get the greens to look a little bit more blue. A little more hint of blue. Adjust those a little bit. There. And ultimately, I think I would leave it the way it is right here. This image, because the subjects are so far away and there's more of a flat light, it's a little bit more difficult of a photo. So I dropped the grain out just then as well. So let's go over here to this one, which I think this one has the potential to be pretty nice black and white as well. Alright, so we'll look through again. 1, which I like that already. 2, still like it. 3, not so much. 4, not as much. Let's look at 1 and 2. I think I would go with 2 on this one. And what I'm going to try to do is preserve the blacks here, so we can't get too wild and crazy. Here, still keep the details in the blacks. Maybe warm it just a little bit more than what it is. I'm actually pretty happy with the way that looks right there so far. And I'm just gonna, just for giggles, I'm gonna see what this would look like if I radial filter. And I've got to invert that mask there. Something like that. Drop highlights. Shadows just a little bit. I would go done there. And now I would take my dodging brush. Dodge his face just a little bit, and I'm probably going to adjust this to about 0.3. And look at the crop. I think I would leave it just like that. I think that looks real nice. Nice skin tones. You have a really nice, it's a nice photograph. You have all that sun flare coming in. And then we just lightened it up right here on her face and his face. Alright, the next one. Big checkerboard. So let's go through. We'll click here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like 1, I like 3, but I think I'm going to go with 3. Give it some more, maybe a little less warmth. Some more contrast. Up the shadows a little bit. do some straightening here. And you can see how the line's a little bit off there. Let's see if we can make an adjustment there. Just because I'm OCD like that. We'll take the crop, bring the crop in just a little bit. I think that's actually more appealing now that you have the leading line instead of it going, or these lines instead of being diagonal. We were able to shift the image a little bit and get it more on a flatter plane. I actually might take the reds, just because you have these pops of red color here in the checkers. Maybe up saturation just a little bit on the reds. Let's see. I'm just looking at their skin tones to see if I'm screwing up their skin tones. I'd take my dodging brush here and then hit both of these guys. But 0.5 to me is a little too much. We'll go to 0.3. Alright. And I like that. I think that looks good. I'm leaving the grain on this photo. I mean, you're at ISO 640. I think it's fine right where it's at. I don't think it's too much grain. We'll zoom in and look. And I'll show you. Oops. Sorry. You probably hear my wife yelling at the kids. So, I don't think it messes anything up. I think you can leave the grain on. Alright. And I like this photo a lot here. Zoom out. Alright. So these are all just, this is one click. Click, one click. Click. I think this could actually work in a black and white. I think that looks great in a black and white. I think it looks perfect in a black and white. I will edit it in color just for giggles, but I think this works out perfectly for black and white. And the two black and white presets, if you're not aware, in the Facebook group, I posted a Dropbox link, and you can down black and white 01, 02, and freebie 01 all for free just by being part of the group. And that's freebie 01. But I really like how that one looks. That's the way I would edit this if it was my photo. But like I said, ultimately we'll look at the color ones. Look back through them one more time. I think, let's see what that looks like with dropping exposure. Let's look at 2. Drops exposure, increase contrast maybe, reduce highlights, maybe up some shadows. I'm a really warm editor, so forgive me if that's too warm for you. Then now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to play with these yellows real quick. So what I'm looking at now is the grass. Let's take it over here. Look at the hue. I'm not a real fan of real yellow grass, and I'm not a real fan of really, really green grass. So you got to try to find a balance between the two. So let's see. I think something like, I don't know, I think I'd be happy with it about right there. And like I said, it's very minimal tweaks to what you had to do. I mean, each photograph is different, so tweaks might be something that you'll always have to do. But sometimes you get lucky and you get like just a one clicker. And like I said, I mean, between when I say one click, I mean click on the preset and adjust white balance and exposure, which I think ultimately you could have done here. Just by tweaking that, and that doesn't look bad at all. But I really, really, really think that's the way to go for that photograph. So hopefully you liked the video and you liked the presets. If so, then you can find them on my website, reallifephoto.com/RLP-presets. And then if you're not part of the Facebook group, feel free to join the Facebook group, and you can download these 3 presets right here all for free. They're just available via Dropbox link, and I believe I pinned the post to the top of the group. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I hope this was helpful. If you ever need any editing advice or anything like that, please just reach out. Have a good night.